Okay, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, can you hear me? People are joining in. We have a lot of participants today. Yes. Yes, yes. Can you hear me? Remember, you can use the chat box. All right. Hello. Where are you from? Where are you joining us from? Yes, hello from Vietnam. Wow, amazing. I'm going to introduce myself. Hello. Chat is disabled. Okay. I can see it now. I don't know. We can't use the chat box. Will, can you?
Yeah, I'm just going to go and fix it now, Mariella.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Ethna, because I didn't know how to. All right. Hello. Well, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Mariela Burani. I'm one of Macmillan's academic consultants in Argentina. And so it's a pleasure to be here being a part of the Macmillan's Global Teachers Festival and seeing people from different parts of the world. So now when the chat is okay, we can, all right, from Georgia, yes, hello. I don't know if it is good morning, good evening, good afternoon, yes. Okay, hi everyone, great. So now that we are, people are joining, yes. Hi from Georgia again, from Peru, from Kazakhstan, hello, from Florida. So it's real, a global, it's a real Georgia. There we have the chat able. Great, great, great. Bulgaria, okay, it's amazing. It's amazing. So many countries I'd like to visit. All right. Okay, so we are going to start with today's session. Let me share my screen. Yes. Okay, people come still. Okay, Romania, India, Albania. Well, it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Okay, so let's start. The Global Teachers Festival, yes? You know that the Global Teachers Festival is, I don't know if it, I'm sure this is not your first session already, yes? We are almost on our penultimate day, so you probably know how it works, yes? But in case it's your first time, I'm going to tell you that the Global Teachers Festival is part of a larger year-round academic program for teachers of English, where you can find loads of teacher development materials and training, no matter what kind of English you teach, how level, age group, we try to provide material for all your needs. We make all of our previous webinars available to watch, a blog also with hundreds of articles, a podcast series, and a range of teaching resources for you to explore. So if you subscribe or if you scan this link and you subscribe to hear about events first, subscribe to macmillanenglish.com/AALAP, which is Advancing Learning Academic Program. Yeah, so do that and you get the news first. So, as I was telling you, we are on our penultimate day of this festival. So, if you haven't registered for tomorrow's session, there is still a session, 2 webinars to go tomorrow. So please do register and enjoy the full Global Teachers Festival. All right. Something, please pay attention to this. I know that many of you need your certificate. So we are going to send you a certificate to your email within a week after this session. Please check also your spam box. And we will also send you, as a way of thanking you for being here and participating, a virtual goodie bag with material exclusive, which is connected to today's session. So please do check within a week your email account to download your personalized certificate and your virtual goodie bag. Yes, within a week, you will receive it. Yes, you will get it. So today, something I forgot to mention. If you are joining us through Facebook or, here we are. If you are joining us through Facebook or LinkedIn and you need a certificate, remember you need to register to our sessions in order to get that, yes? Because certificates and goodie bags are will only be available for participants who have registered. But if you happen to watch us through those two media, please register to get your certificate and goodie bag. So let me tell you a little bit about what we are going today. Today, or our day number 9, we will have Sarah and Susan Hillyard, daughter and mother, yes? And Sarah will be talking about befriending distractions in the young learner classroom. And Susan will be talking about what makes young people tick these days. This is our menu for today, our great menu for today. All right, so Sarah, I don't know if you can join us, if you can turn on your camera.
Hello.
Hello, Sarah. Hello, hello.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mariella.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sarah. Probably you know her, but in case you don't, let me introduce her. Sarah is based in Buenos Aires. So we live in Argentina. I'm not from Buenos Aires, but Sarah is. And she holds a master's degree in teaching English to young learners from the University of York. Sarah is also a teacher and a coordinator at pre-primary level, and also an ELT consultant for bilingual schools. She is tutor on Nile's education course, Teaching English in Pre-Primary Education. So as you can see, she's a specialist on this subject. She delivers webinars and teacher training sessions at conferences and school. She has also published articles focusing precisely on English to young learners. She's also the co-author and consultant for Little Stars and Our Stories, which is a series by Pearson. And she used to be an actress with The Performers. The Performers is an international theater company for education, with educational purposes. And luckily and fortunately, we have the pleasure of having her now at Macmillan's as an ELT consultant. So enough of me. I hope you enjoy this webinar. Sarah, they are all yours.
Thank you very much, Mariella, for that introduction. Lovely. Hello, everybody. I can see you all saying hello in the chat box, so that's lovely. And I can see lots of familiar names, many people from Argentina here with us as well. So that's lovely too. And hello, everybody from all around the world. This is a fantastic festival, isn't it? But I've got a question for you. Have you been coming to the talks? Have you been coming to the different sessions? And have you ever got distracted along the way at any point? Have you ever got distracted at any point? Perhaps start thinking about something else or something you need to do after enjoying these talks. Yeah, by some comments sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. Many times some of you say, yeah, distractions. The kids came. Okay, I'm just going to start with a little poem by Ken Nesbitt, who writes poems for children. And it's called, I Tried to Do My Homework. I tried to do my homework, but a show was on TV. A song was on the radio. A friend was texting me. My email chimed. And so, of course, I had to look at that. It linked me to a video of someone's silly cat. I watched a dozen videos and then I played a game. I almost didn't hear her when my mother called my name. I looked up at the clock and it was time to go to bed. I didn't get my homework done, just other stuff instead. I hope my teacher listens to the cause of my inaction. It's really not my fault. The world is just one big distraction. The world is one big distraction, isn't it? I wonder which distractions you are facing now. And in the classroom, no one is immune to distractions, not even the teacher sometimes. And there is nothing quite so distracting for a teacher than a distracted student, is there? So in this session, we will explore effective ways of reducing distractions, battling them, getting students back on task. We need to make friends with distractions because the world is just one big distraction. There's no way to escape from them. So this is a question for you. Do you find your learners get distracted easily? Yeah, Rowana, yeah. Oh, Valeria, yeah. Svetlana, yeah, of course they do. And why do they get distracted? What are the distractors in your classroom? Everything around them. Classmates. Yeah, the noise, toys, gadgets, a cat walking by, cell phones, not understanding the topic, bugs, pencil cases, yeah, clumsy friends, noise, toys, lesson, the lesson itself. Right, a spider, new outfits. Okay, yeah, there are loads of distractions happening in the classroom, aren't there? Something as simple as a pencil rolling off a desk can be highly distracting. Some expensive tennis shoes someone's wearing, or whatever is happening out the window, other students in PE or at break time, the class next door making a noise. At times just a bee, Jane says. Even the teacher, Marietta, sometimes the activity we're doing is the distractor itself. If the activity is too long or the lesson doesn't flow well, yeah. Daydreaming about the camping trip they're going to the next morning, a new football or new World Cup stickers, you know, a new pencil case. Those are things you can confiscate though, but not like talking. You can't confiscate talking, can't confiscate chit chat. And then it's not only that student who is talking, it's the person they're talking to and those who are eavesdropping. So it's a chain reaction effect. There's lateness. They're perhaps thinking about other things that they enjoy, but also things they don't enjoy. Someone is saying health issues, for example, pressures at home, social issues at school, things that cause anxiety, bullying. Yeah, so distractions are not always just because they want to think about something else, but maybe something bad is happening. When the lesson is not interesting, absolutely, lack of student-centered activities. Okay, fantastic. Wind, okay, some cute pens and pencils and felt tips. Okay, and the list goes on, doesn't it? You know that I was talking to a teacher in a feedback session. I had observed her lesson and we were having a feedback session and she was reflecting upon distractions. And she said, you know what, I've noticed you need to be the sparkliest thing in the room. Otherwise, you lose out to a dead leaf in the corner, she said. And that's pretty accurate, isn't it? A dead leaf can even be pretty attention grabbing, more so if the teacher is not sparkly enough. So what happens with attention then? Why do we get so distracted? In his book, Teaching with the Brain in Mind, Eric Jensen writes about the research that says that the purpose of attention seems to be, first of all, to promote survival. We have important decisions to make all the time about where to turn our attention. And we make this decision about 100,000 times a day, he says, For example, when driving, if we're hungry or thirsty, it promotes survival. The brain is always paying attention to something because its survival depends on it. And the other purpose of attention is to extend pleasurable states. We pay attention to what gives us pleasure. Some music we enjoy, a film, the sunset, painting. But when we talk about paying attention in an educational context, we are referring to external focused attention. In the classroom, we want students to give undivided attention to our tasks. But is it a pleasurable state for them? It requires blocking out all other stimuli. We ask them to ignore more interesting stimuli in the environment sometimes. That means that we expect our students to be looking at the teacher, thinking only of the material we are presenting. But when the thing you're supposed to be paying attention to is not worthy of our attention, the brain finds other things to do because it tries to extend pleasurable states. And do they pay attention to us for survival purposes? So Eric Jensen states firmly that if attention isn't held to promote either survival nor to extend pleasurable states, then when those conditions are not met, classroom attention is a statistical improbability. Oh no, so what do we do? Give up? We're here to find solutions, not problems. So we want to turn classroom attention into a probability, not an improbability. So now a question for you. Do you get distracted sometimes? Yes, Nina. Yes, Mohammed. Of course, we all do. Are you distracted right now? Pay attention. Okay, maybe it's time for me to change the dynamics. Stop talking for a minute or two and give your brains a different pathway to learn. So let's do a little test of selective attention. You're going to watch a short video and you need to count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. Are you ready? Are you focused? Are you paying attention? We're going to watch a short video and you need to count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. Ready, steady, go.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count?
How many passes did you count? 13, 14, 12, 18. Okay. Okay, here's the answer.
The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
Did you see the gorilla? Some of you saw the gorilla. Some of you didn't, some of you did. Okay. Look, watch the gorilla if you haven't seen him. Okay, there was the gorilla passing by. Some of you saw it, some of you didn't see it. Okay, fantastic. That was your selective attention working. Attention is your brain function that focuses on information or stimuli. What's important about attention is that it often is the beginning of a link of other processes. You need to pay attention first to something before you can process it for meaning, understanding, or do anything with that information. So any input we give in the classroom, there needs to be attention on that first before anyone can make meaning of it, understand it, or do anything with it. Okay, what we've just done was a test of selective attention. Your selective attention is strong if you are good at having, for example, a conversation with a friend at a loud party. You're not paying attention to the rest of the party. You're paying attention to your conversation with your friend. Okay. Or if you're trying to study in a very noisy room. Okay, you can pay attention to what you're studying and not to the noise in the room. So those of you who were looking at the players in white passing the ball were using your selective attention very strongly because you did not see the gorilla. Okay, you were using your selective attention, only paying attention to what you were supposed to pay attention, which is not the gorilla. So you're selecting from many factors or stimuli, and you focus on only one that you want while filtering out the other distractions. Okay, so if you're good at selective attention, you're usually good at ignoring distractions. Another type of attention is sustained attention. How good are your students at playing video games, for example? Yeah, really good. Okay, this is sustained attention that they're using. The type of attention that we expect our students to maintain in class, but we're not a video game. It's easy for a child to sustain their attention on the video game. It's a pleasurable state, but not necessarily always on the teacher. It's the ability to focus on one specific task for a continuous amount of time without being distracted. Can you think of any other examples of sustained attention? What you should be doing right now, listening to a lecture, reading a book, fixing a car, watching a film. Yep, that's right, Maria. Yeah, reading a novel. That's right, Nora. Okay, that's sustained attention. These two first types of attention are needed when you have to focus on one thing at a time. And now the next two that I'm going to show you are needed when you have to focus on multiple things. So, alternating attention. How good are you at reading a recipe and actually preparing the meal itself at the same time, boiling water, chopping carrots while you're reading the recipe? How well do you coordinate that going back and forth with the actual doing and the reading of the recipe? How good? Terrible. Yeah, me too. I'm terrible at that. Pretty bad. Yeah, me too. I'm not good at this. My alternating attention isn't really very good. It's the ability to switch your focus back and forth between tasks that require different cognitive demands, but are all related. Okay. So Eleonora, the next one is divided attention, which is a synonym of multitasking. In this case, what you're doing is you're dividing your attention in different types of tasks, okay, simultaneously. For example, do you answer emails or WhatsApp messages while you're in a Zoom meeting, for example? Or maybe you're writing an email right now or texting a friend right now. You're multitasking. I definitely hope not. Women do it all the time. Do you talk to a friend on the phone while you're cooking, while you're tidying up your living room? Can you talk to your friends while you're driving? It's dangerous to text and drive at the same time. I'm warning you, don't test your divided attention on doing that. But you're dividing your attention between two or more tasks simultaneously. Basically, yes, the word is multitasking. It isn't always an easy thing to manage. But if you're like most people, you do it a lot anyway. And I bet the mums and dads in here can feel identified right now. Lots of multitasking with the kids around. Yeah. Good. Fantastic. It depends on the type of activities. Martina, you are right. Sometimes it depends on the types of activities, whether we can do this with our attention or not. Absolutely. Yeah. Good. Okay. So a quick true or false here. Going back to the classroom, a quick true or false in the chat box, please. Number 1, true or false, students become more distracted as the school year progresses. Okay, number 2, students are more likely to become distracted with longer lessons than with shorter lessons. Okay, number 3. Students are more likely to become distracted during whole group instruction than during individual or small group instruction? All right. 4. Girls are more likely than boys to be distracted by their peers. 5. In general, girls are more likely to stay on task than boys. Sorry, boys. What do you think, true or false? Okay, all right. This is going too fast for me. I can't read all those trues and falses. Anyway, this is a study that was carried out by the Institute of Education Scientists by researchers in 50 schools, identifying the time learners spent on task and off task. Specifically, the research concluded that all these statements are true. So sorry, boys, but I'm just the messenger. Okay, there are lots of research on this anyway. Anyway, they concluded that around 25% of primary school students' time in the classroom is spent distracted, not learning. 25% of the time they are distracted. So being realistic, do students use sustained attention or directed attention 100% of the time? No, they don't. And they won't. Perhaps we need to make friends with this idea, befriend distractions and accept just a bit, because we can do some things about it. Elizabeth, you're not surprised? Yeah, me neither. Carolina, brain breaks. Yes, we're going into brain breaks in a bit, Carolina. Thanks. Good. So what options do we have? If classroom distractions will always exist, they will, because the brain wants to pay attention to things that promote survival or that extend pleasurable states. They will exist, but we want to know how we can prevent them a little bit as well. We can take steps to minimize them. So option 1 is do nothing. Just have no plan, go into the classroom. When a disruption occurs, you battle it. This is a more reactive approach to classroom disruptions. Option 2 is to be proactive and take steps towards minimizing disruptions before they occur. Reduce distractions, get students back on task when they do happen, but with a plan. So which option would you go for? Many option 2s. Okay. Okay. Many option 2s. Okay, some of you, could we mix them up? Okay, I don't know who said that because it went too fast, but someone said, can we mix them up? Very quickly in the chat box, that went by. And actually, I do agree. Someone says both. Yes, 1 and 2. Okay, lovely, because you know what? I think the best way is to have a strategy, to have a plan, to decide how you're going to address distractions and be ready for them. Prevention is always better than cure. But you will always find moments in which your students surprise you with something you hadn't anticipated, like a dead leaf. So it really does involve a balance, doesn't it? You need to be prepared to be flexible and come up with something there in the spur of the moment. Okay, so now we're going to the practical. What exactly can we do? Plan to enhance your class dynamics. Number 1 is plan it. Can my plan be broken down into smaller tasks? Remember, we learned from the research that students are more likely to become distracted with longer lessons than with shorter lessons. So break them down. Have I got brain breaks? Someone said something about that. Well, I'll give you some examples of brain breaks later. And students are more likely to become distracted during whole group instruction than during individual instruction. So give them a bit and a bit. Okay, think about delivery. How engaged are you? How excited are you? What are you transmitting? You need to make sure that you're the shiniest thing in the classroom, remember. There's so much stimuli besides the teacher competing for the student's attention. You know what? Short and sweet is good because our attention fatigues over time. At a certain point, you need to stop. Your brain needs to stop. We've learned that the brain is poorly designed for continuous focused attention, but change renews attention. You know what? The best way to get attention, use contrast. Group individual, standing, sitting, movement, stillness. Nearly anything that is novel will re-grab your attention. Remember that the purpose of attention is to extend pleasurable states. Because of the pleasure novelty brings, the brain will want to return for a similar experience. This means rotating mini lectures, reflection, team project time, mingle activities, interactive games, heads down worksheets as well, reflection, individual work. And you know what children like these days? They watch a lot of this TikTok or YouTube shorts, don't they? And what do? They're really, really short, and they go fast, they're dynamic, and they change all the time. There's contrast. There isn't really much of a link sometimes, is there? But they can watch these little short videos for hours without noticing the passing of time. So this is very different to sustained attention for an hour watching a film or for an hour reading a book. It's a very different type of attention. It's going from one short thing to the next. Directed attention really needs a lot of effort. According to Eric Jensen from Teaching with the Brain and Mind, focused attention can be sustained at a high and constant level for only a very short time. Okay, so we need to remember this. It's not that our students want to misbehave, it's that their brains cannot sustain their attention for that long. They physically can't do it. Okay, so we really want to bring in some novelty, some change, some contrast for the brain to refocus. Okay, yeah. Find out what they're interested in. What are their after-school activities? Are they interested in sports? Are they interested in football, perhaps after the World Cup, or singers or bands, or outer space? Like this example taken from Share It. This is Macmillan's course book for primary. And in Share It, you have lots of interesting content for your students. So choose course books that have topics your students would enjoy. It has to be relevant. It has to be meaningful. Do they like dinosaurs? Do we want to talk about your holidays? Do they have a stone collection? Do they play the flute even? In Aristotle's words, people who are passionately devoted to the flute are unable to pay attention to arguments if they hear someone playing a flute, since they enjoy the flute playing more than the activity that presently occupies them. So you can replace flute with anything, and that perfectly describes why distractions happen, the pleasurable state. Clearly, attention has always been a problem with humans. So bring in things that are interesting, that students are interested in, and make it meaningful and relevant. Give your learners a role. Use them as helpers. Give them responsibilities. You can ask them to help you with something, even if it's tiny, even if it's small. Do you give your students jobs? Do you give them little roles in the classroom? Like, for example, the demonstrator, the one who participates in class demonstrations, or yeah, you do. What jobs do you give them? It could be a book holder who holds your book for you while you read, or it could be the material delivery boy or girl who passes out the material, yeah, to demonstrate, to pass out markers, yeah, who checks homework, fantastic. Maybe the note taker who comes up to the board and takes notes as you're explaining something. You give a timekeeper, that's a good one, yeah, okay. Manage the line when we go out, fantastic. Someone who erases the board or cleans the board. The weather note taker. Those little responsibilities boost their confidence, gives them those responsibilities, even if it's tiny, even if it's small. Be aware of the physical space. Ensure that classroom stimulation is not overwhelming. Try to minimize distracting visual displays in your classroom. Hang up, yes, students' work. That's because you feel proud of them. They did a great job. So you have it all there. You want to display it for everyone to see, but not loads of posters that don't really mean anything just because they look colorful or attractive. Okay, make sure children have what they need on their desks and not too much stuff on their desk, not more than what they need. Minimize distracting sounds. You love posters, Elizabeth. Yes, I do too, but make sure they're not too distracting, because if you're not the shiniest thing in the room, I'm sure your posters would be. Ticking clocks or heaters or fans that make a noise, or, you know, that are calling their attention. Have a look at your space as well, your physical space. Polish your classroom management strategies. And with this, I could go on forever and ever. Have signal systems. This prevents shouting, raising your voice. For example, in Share It, in Macmillan's course for primary, you have loads of teacher tips for classroom management, like clap twice and students clap 3 times. So that's your signal that means now pay attention to me, okay? Maybe raising your hand and waiting for everyone to raise their hands as well. Maybe fast finishers. You need to work out how you're going to work with fast finishers, because fast finishers are professional distractors, aren't they? So pair them up with students who need more time. So the fast and the ones who need more time can be together and work together. Or think about what your fast finishers can do when they finish their work. These are low-key, non-intrusive behavior management techniques. Telling jokes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Dawn. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, ABC. Lovely stuff. Call and response, which is my favorite. What would you answer if I said Scooby-Dooby-Doo? What would you answer to that? Where are you, Nora? Yes, where are you? So I'd say students are working or working in groups or whatever, and I say Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and they'll say, where are you? And then I'll say Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and they'll say, where are you? So you do it twice, once to call their attention, they answer back to show they're paying attention, and then the next time as a whisper, so that you bring the volume down. And now they're really listening. What's the answer to hands on top? Stop. Yeah, okay. Everybody stop would be the answer. Yeah, okay. Hands on top. Everybody stop. So they stop working and put their hands on their heads. But then we do it again. Hands on top. What's the answer to hocus pocus? Focus, everybody focus. Yeah, so I'll say hocus pocus, and my students will say everybody focus. And then everyone's quiet. Yeah, there you've got the answers to those, okay? Always finish on a whisper. Don't forget that. That's the magic trick of it. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, Raga. Yes, absolutely. You've got loads of those to choose from. Brain breaks, someone said before, as a result of brain breaks, students are able to either relax and breathe and refocus, or get energized and then refocus. So instead of their attention going into something else in the form of a distraction, fidgeting, moving, we have to remember they need to move. We need to give their brains a break. So it's a way of giving students the opportunity to distract themselves with something different, novel, something that is going to contrast with what we're doing in a way that we are allowing, not them moving or fidgeting, but we're allowing them to do this. So things like physical brain breaks can be yoga, can be jumping jacks, can be running in place or dancing. Those are physical and energetic. There could be breathing brain breaks, deep breathing, visualizing, gentle stretches, rolling the neck, raising your arms above your head. There could be mental brain breaks, like playing a game as a contrast, just something quick and fun, not necessarily language related. Answering questions, trivia questions as a game, telling jokes. Someone said telling jokes before. Brain gym, like lazy eights, where they draw the number 8 in the air. You can ask them what color their 8s are, or they can do it with their nose, or with their elbow. Okay. They can do it with their 2 hands stretched out. And that is a sign, that is a movement that flows, doesn't it? Other brain breaks can be things like cross crawls, where you put your right hand to your left knee, your left hand to your right knee, your right hand to your left knee, your left hand to your right knee. Those are physical ones, yeah. Mixed pairs and group members. Some students get distracted according to who they're working with, so choose pairs and groups wisely. Another share it tip is to have 2 sets of cards with numbers on them, and students have to find the student with the matching card to find their partner. Things like that, little tricks to mix them up wisely, not always with their best friend. A change in location is an easy way to get attention. You move to the back or to the side of the classroom, stand closer to the distracted student without interrupting your lesson. If a child doesn't get the hint, maybe you just rest your hand on the edge of the desk, or you tap quietly to remind them that they need to stay focused. Or you can move your students to the back of the room, to the side or to the front if you need them closer to you. Use changes in location. You move a lot, Elizabeth, that's great. What else can you do? You can distract the distractor. This is a good way to deal with off-task behavior very quickly in a way that doesn't distract other students. When you pay a lot of attention to distractors, you make a mess of the whole group. You do, because you're putting everybody's attention on the distractor. And what we really want to do is take their attention off the distractor. So imagine a student at the back of your class is whispering to her friend, for example. You can deal with this in a way in which you call out her name, Maria, stop talking, or you can distract Maria from her distraction, asking, Maria, what's the answer to number 4? So the attention goes to her, but it's not a negative attention. Make the question easy so that your student can actually get it right, because we're not trying to embarrass your student just because they're distracted, because we now know that it's normal, it's natural to be distracted and the brain needs it. You want them to come back from their distraction by distracting them with the lesson, or even get them ready for it. Maria, I'm going to ask you to give the answer to number 9 when it comes up, okay? So we might be on number 6 right now, so she knows that she's got to be ready for number 9. That gives her a chance to prepare and to also figure out what's going on before being put on the spotlight. Or Maria, what color highlighter are we supposed to be using now? Okay, see how your language changes. So what you do is you use redirecting language. Saying out loud, why aren't you working, Maria? Would only lead to confrontation. It might lead to embarrassment. So I'm sorry if there are any Marias in the room. I'm picking on you today, aren't I? So I should change that name for a bit. And so if your students are unable to answer your questions, you can ask someone else to explain, and that's great language practice as well. So instead of put that book away, you can ask, where should that book be? Instead of stop talking or stop running, what is our rule about talking? What is our rule about running? Or please walk inside. Okay, we change it into the positive rather than stop running. It's please walk inside. And then you always finish on something positive like thank you or yes, that's exactly right. You can also use the distraction to teach something. Okay, so if nothing else works, use the distracting element to teach. Someone's looking out the window. We'll take a look at that after we've finished this, okay? So when you finish, you keep your promise. And you tell everyone, look out the window. What were you looking at, Pedro? I swapped Maria for Pedro now. What were you looking at? Can you all look out the window and see? It's like a moving poster, an interactive poster now. So there's lots of description opportunities everywhere in a distraction, even in a dead leaf. Just say, we'll all take a look at this and we'll describe it, we'll talk about it, or something that a student has got. We say, okay, put it away now, please, but we will bring it back after this exercise, okay? You can bring it out, but when we finish this, okay? So then you call them, you keep your promise, come to the front, please, let's see that. Oh, that's lovely. Who gave it to you? What's it for? Who chose it? Who else has a similar one? What is yours like? Ask them real questions, not just what color is it, but ask them real questions. Who gave it to you as a gift? Has anyone else got a similar one at home? Okay, so ask genuine questions that show you care. So that's a way that you can use distractions in a teachable way. Okay, Elizabeth says that Jim Carrey's teacher used to give him the last 5 minutes to tell jokes. It was an agreement they had so she could teach. He wanted to tell jokes all class, probably, yeah. Wonderful, Elizabeth. Yes, so you know they need it. You know they need to look out that window. They need to show that new object they've got. So let them do it, but use it as a teachable moment. And last but not least, competition games that usually keep everyone involved, because you know you want to win the game, so you're involved in it. If they're involved, they'll be paying attention. So these are games that I have chosen, again, from Share It. Share It has a great bank of games, and I have chosen these 3. Hot potato, in which students make a circle. You say a review word and toss a ball to a student. That student says another word and passes it to another student. That student says another word and passes it to the next. If the word is incorrect or the student is unable to say the word, he or she sits down. Hot seat, where you divide the class into 2 teams. A student from the first team stands in front of the board facing the class, and you write a word on the board. His or her team members give clues for the student at the front to guess the word that is written behind them, so they can't see the word that's behind them. Or a board race, where you draw a line down the center of the board, divide the class into 2 teams, they stand in line, you call out a category, and a student from each team runs to the board, writes a word from that category, and then it's the next student's turn until time is up, and the team gets a point for each correct answer. Any of those types of competition games keep students' attention most of the time. And talking about categories, that was my last game, which was about categories. This is another category game, but it's a concentration game that you can use to realign your learner's attention and at the same time practice some lexis. But I'm going to use it here to build up for something I need you all to have full concentration on for the next slide. So I'm going to grab your attention now with this, so that in the next slide, you can pay full attention to what's coming. So this concentration game goes like this. I'm going to start a beat, for example, snap, snap, clap, clap, snap, snap, clap, clap. Concentration. Are you ready? If so, let's go. And then we start saying words within the category. So the category is animals, let's say. So we start saying all different animals. Who would like to write some animals in the chat box? So it would be 1 child at a time within the rhythm, okay? Lion, giraffe, goat, bear, dog, etc. So you go all around the children, concentrating, focusing on that beat, that rhythm, and the category that you've given them. So you go all around. They can change the type of rhythm. You could be slap, slap, tap, tap. It could be on your head. It could be touch your nose. It could be any kind. They can play in pairs, so they do it together. They can go home and teach it to their families, and then practice some lexis at home as well as you're doing it. But this is a way to get them to concentrate again. So I told you I was using this game to get you to concentrate again, to refocus for this next slide, which is this. Have I got your sustained attention? I thought it would be the perfect occasion to briefly mention that I'm currently leading the new Facebook community group exclusively for Share It teachers around the world. Many of those examples I gave to you today were from Share It, Macmillan's education course for primary. Whether you already use Share It or you're a potential user to be, you're all invited to join this community by scanning that QR code that is on the screen with your phone. Grab your phone and scan it. Don't get distracted right now, because this screen is going to go in a sec. What you get as a member of the community is a load of teacher tips and ideas and weekly posts and live videos and quizzes about pronunciation, communication games, values, collaboration, how to do group work, everything that users of Share It need to know. So I hope to get lots of you joining our community, and I hope for lots of sharing and caring. I hope to see you join. What is then your biggest takeaway from today? Which of these ideas will you be using, or what did you find interesting? What would you like to remember? What do you want to avoid? Breaks, fantastic. What else? What will you use in your classroom? Okay, everything nice. Wonderful. Brain breaks using contrast, lazy 8, using distractions for learning, improving classroom management, lazy 8s again, brain gym again, games, short and sweet, using distractions, competition games, all of them. Wow. Okay, fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you all very much for your attention, for your non-distraction. And I think the boy in Ken Nesbitt's poem at the beginning that I shared with you is right. The world is just one big distraction, but you can be a very effective teacher and classroom manager if you are proactive and you anticipate and you plan for distractions, because they will occur. But you need to also be flexible and prepared at the same time for whatever comes up. So thank you all for your participation and keep enjoying this wonderful festival. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sarah. Let me
you.
see. I'm here. Can you see me? Oh,
Yes.
Sorry, I cannot see myself, but don't worry. You can see me, Tina.
We can see you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Sarah, for this amazing webinar full of ideas, practical ideas. I think we might have some minutes for 2 questions. That, if you agree with me, there is one question. Many of the questions you already answered while you were talking, so there's no need to go through them. Isabel asks, her question is, I am a teacher with ADHD. Do you have any tips for us distracted teachers?
Okay, that's a good question, Isabel. I'm sorry to say I'm not really qualified to answer that question. I know it does happen in lots of classrooms, and we do have to deal with those situations in lots of classrooms, but I am really not qualified to answer questions about children with special needs or learning difficulties. So I wouldn't want to say anything that isn't based on research. But I guess these are things that you would have to talk to the parents with, other teachers. If you've got good support from the schools, those are things that you can surely find out to be able to support your learners.
All right, sorry, but the question was that she's a teacher with ADHD. I think the answer might be the same. Sorry, okay. Maybe I was not clear. Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, I think that all teachers get distracted, don't we? So I think that everything we mentioned at the beginning as well, apart from why students get distracted and what are the distractions in the classroom, that also applies to teachers, because we get distracted with the students who are distracted in the classroom as well. And of course, distracted teachers are teachers, really. Teachers are distracted. Yes. I think with ADHD or not.
Yes, it's a problem for adults as well nowadays.
Absolutely.
We also as adults get all the time distracted. And well, and there was another question. Yes, sorry. Oliga, I think, I don't know how to pronounce it, beg your pardon. What to do if you have a child that other kids don't include, and the child cries every time for every activity not done the way he likes? Okay.
In those cases, what I think is that you really need to, of course, start with having a good, positive classroom. In positive classrooms, there are lots of different activities and exercises and strategies you can use to build the group dynamics, to build the collaboration within the groups. So really what you need to do is start from there and work a lot on that type of activities from the beginning, if possible, from the beginning of the year, so that everyone can feel like they're okay to take risks, and we all know that we shouldn't be picking on anybody or not including anybody in the classroom, but it should be an inclusive classroom. It should be collaborative, and we should all be working together. A lot of social and emotional learning activities that you start with, so that you can build a nice classroom community from there on. I hope that
yes. I guess that's the challenge nowadays. That's the challenge nowadays. All right. Okay, Sarah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your wonderful webinar. And
thank you, Mariela. Well, thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you, Sarah. So we go on with what we have now. Yes, let me share my screen. Yes. All right. So as you've seen, many of the examples that Sarah mentioned, and also that she's in charge of our Facebook group are from Share It, our new series for primary students. Nurturing, the idea of Share It is nurturing a sense of empathy where everyone's progress is valued. The course instills a growth mindset, enables students to achieve more. It gives teachers the tools they need to engage all students and to support them by creating a positive classroom environment which focuses on the values of respect, kindness, and responsibility. I think that Sarah addressed many of these issues in her talk. It also guides students to understand and use English through contextualized presentations, video animations, control practice in 3 different models: pair share, group share, and class share. And Share It also focuses on social and emotional learning and values, which promote a culture of kindness and inclusion in the classroom and create a space in which all children feel safe to participate. We also provide real work content, CLIL and cultural lessons, as well as collaborative projects, which give students hands-on opportunities to engage with authentic topics and provide real reasons to use the language. So if you're interested on this course, and if you teach young learners, well, you can discover more at macmillanenglish.com/shareit, and there you can download sample units, and you will find videos and a lot of information to help you make your decision. Remember that, as Sarah mentioned, she's in charge of the Facebook community group, where we know that sharing is learning. So please do join us, scan the code, and join our teachers program with Share It. And again, if you are interested, you can find out more information and by contacting one of our your local representative from our education team. So please scan the code that you have here, or and fill in the form. Yes, I think that we are going to include the form in the chat box. Yes, all right. Okay, good news. If you want to hear more and see more of Sarah's ideas, we are going to deliver a webinar that will take place on the 10th of March, Friday the 10th, three different hours, so that it can suit your timetable. She's going to deliver a webinar on raising cultural awareness, mirrors and windows, raising intercultural awareness in the primary classroom. So please do join us for this event, yes, because you know that the academic program, the Advancing Learning academic program, will be full the whole year. Okay, so what happens now? We have 2 options. It's like choosing your own adventure. Option 1, you can stay right here on this link, on this Zoom room, for what makes young people tick these days, the webinar that will be delivered by Susan Hillyard, Sarah's mother, yes? And option 2, you can click the link in the chat that we are going to put in a second, and go to a presentation on Share It, where you will find more information on the course, yes, a course showcase. So if you stay here, you will be able to listen to Susan Hillyard, what makes young people tick these days. If you follow the link, it's another Zoom room, you will be led to the product showcase. So you can choose whatever you want. Remember that there will be recordings of this webinar, so you can choose, but then you can, I don't know, if you choose the showcase, then you will be able to see Susan. Yeah, so we have the two options, but you will be able to see both. All right, so let me introduce Susan. Susan, are you there? Hello,
yes,
hello, Susan.
I'm
Hi,
here.
hello, how are you? Great to see you. Okay, great to see you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Susan. Susan has a bachelor's education degree, honors degree from Warwick University in UK. She has played many roles in her 50-year career. She's been a teacher, head of department, teacher trainer, conference speaker, workshop facilitator, materials writer, researcher, online tutor, consultant for the performance, and webinar presenter. The performance, remember I mentioned, is this international group of players for educational purposes. So, well, she's very, very experienced. Presently, she is the founder and director of Shelter, and Susan is also English Language Teachers Academy and a freelance consultant for EMI for the British Council in China. Her interests lie in inclusion, drama for ELT, spoken English, global issues, world Englishes, teacher development, and trainer training. I must confess that when I was studying for teacher training college, one of the first talks I went to in Rosario in Argentina was Sarah talking about drama, and it was amazing. It was really very inspirational for my career. So it's a pleasure to have Susan here. So enough of me, they are all yours, and I hope you enjoy Susan's talk.
Thank you very much indeed. Could you stop sharing so I can share? Thank you. Hello, everybody. I hope you can see me, and I hope you can see my screen. Let me know if you can. Just shout something out, please, so that I know you can. Okay, good morning, everybody. I know that you've had a fantastic presentation from our daughter, Sarah, and I'm going to carry on now with what makes young learners tick these days. I'm going to be asking you lots and lots of questions, so I do hope that you will answer them in the chat box. I'd like to thank Macmillan for inviting me, and I'd like to thank all of you for being here in this session. I'm sure that I will thank you even more at the end when you join in with everything. So, what makes young learners tick these days? I don't know if you've heard that word before, but these are our questions for today. Are your students different after the pandemic? If so, how are they different? Just write some things in the chat box to tell me. How are they different? If they've changed, how have they changed? And what does tick mean? What does this word mean to you? What makes you tick in a webinar like this? What do I have to do to make you tick? I hope I've planned some things in to make you tick. Let me see, they got wilder and don't want to work, they're demotivated, they're lazy, they seem to seek more safety. They became insecure, they became lazier. Everybody's saying the same thing. The shorter the activity, the better they feel. Their attention span grew shorter instead of longer. Okay, these are great points. Thank you very much indeed. Lack of study habits, internet addiction, distracted, unfocused, social media addiction, insensitive. That's a problem. They got attached to the cell phone. Yep, exactly. So they had far more opportunities to become distracted while they were at home. So this is something that we've got to take notice of, and we've got to plan it into our lessons so that we can rectify or at least address some of these problems that everybody in the world is facing, not just you, everybody. So let's ask some more. Oops, let's ask some more questions. What did I do? Okay. How do you create tick-making situations then, if you've got to get them to tick? Has anybody told me what the word tick means? Could you write it again if you already did? Because I think I missed it. What do you need to plan for? What theories can guide you? And how do you manage it all? Because it's a lot to manage. Okay, let me see what we've got here in the chat box. Using creativity, growing and moving, motivated. Yes, if they tick, they are motivated. If they tick, they are engaged. If they become involved in what you're doing and they are curious about what you're doing, they are ticking. So let's get them to tick tock, just like the clock, because it's functioning. So we want to get them functioning as learners. So that's what we want to do for them. Okay. Remember, please, babies were born to learn. They were not born to be taught what you want them to learn. Let them play. Let them carry on playing. During those first 3 years of life, babies, toddlers, learn more than they're going to learn in the rest of their lives. And how do they learn it? They learn it through play, because they are naturally inquisitive. I'm not saying don't teach, of course, we are all teachers, but we have to be teachers and learners, and we have to learn what makes our students tick. So don't forget, babies were born to learn. Let them carry on learning through primary and through secondary and as adults. We all need to play. If we don't play, we grow old. So let them play, let us play at the same time. I have found in my 50 years of teaching, I feel strange saying that, I have found that I've been able to put 2 packages together, and by combining these 2 packages, I have been able to make my students tick, whatever their age actually. And into the bargain, I have been able to make myself tick. So I've never suffered burnout. The one package is using the 5 senses, using particularly the 3 senses of touch, sight, and hearing. When I say touch, I don't mean just holding feely things or holding other feely things. I mean touching their hearts, touching their emotions. So you move them on the outside, but you also move them on the inside. And that's why they can tick in your classroom, even if they can't tick in somebody else's classroom. So we're going to use VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic senses. We can also use taste and smell if you can think of some good exercises to do on those things. You can use them in a more limited way, perhaps, I must admit. For example, when I'm doing story time, I have my perfume bottle and I spray, nice smell in the classroom, And the students know, wow, it's story time. We're going to have a story now. So it prompts them to respond in a positive way. I also put together with the 5 senses, the spice of education, the spice of ELT. And I'm going to show you now how I teach the spice to you teachers. I'm going to do it in a multisensory way. I'm going to use visual actions. I'm going to use sounds that you can hear yourself saying them and me saying them. And I'm going to use touch in the sense that I'm going to be moving, and I hope I'm going to move you. Say in the chat box, yes, if you will join in with me. I need you to join in with me because I need you to feel what the students feel when you do this kind of ELT with them. So please write in the chat box if you're going to join in with me. I need you to stand up. Oh, I'm getting some yeses. I'm getting excited now. Oh, that's fantastic. Great. So push your chair back, stand up, breathe deeply, and take your pointing finger, your hard work pointing finger, and point right up to the ceiling. Look at the nail on the end of your pointing finger, and I want you to do some air streaming. We are going to air stream the word spice, and I'm going to tell you what this acronym means to me. I made this up, it's mine. So it's my spice, and the letters mean what I want you to do in the classroom. So we're going to say, we're going to be snakes for a moment. Okay, ready and go. Right down to the floor. I hope you're all doing it with me. What do you think S stands for? Snake, student. Yes. Sounds. Senses. Stood. Smile. Super. Snake again. Shining. Speak. Be present. Ah, we're getting close. Smart. Smell. Sounds. Feelings. S in my spice stands for social development. When we are working with students, we cannot have them sitting in rows in doing individual work. We have to have them working in pairs, in groups, in circles, in any kind of social situation. So they learn how to be sociable. How can they learn social feelings? How can they learn social skills if we don't give them an opportunity? So we do social development. Every lesson, there shouldn't be one lesson that goes by when you're not doing social development. Okay, now we're going to airstream P. We're going to do a nice plosive P, and we're going to airstream P. Ready, steady, go. Look at your nail. P for what? What does P stand for? Physical movement. Excellent. Play. It could be play as well. In my spice, it stands for physical development. We need to teach our students English language, body language. We need to teach them to stand up with their chin held high, their shoulders down, and a good straight body so that they can breathe deeply and have the confidence to open their mouths when they speak. So we need to do lots of physical work with them. We also take into account the idea that the muscles have memory. And whenever we do anything through physical motion, the muscles remember it better. And so the vocabulary becomes stickable. We have muscle memory. Everybody will tell you that. If you learn to drive a car and then you don't drive for a while, when you go back to it, your muscles remember what you've got to do. You don't think about it, you just do it. The muscles have memory. Motricity, it's to do with motricity. It's to do actually with trace hypothesis, but we won't be going into that. Okay, now we're going to do I, and we're going to say if, and we're going to do a nice big air-streamed I in the air, and you're going to look at your nail, don't forget to look, so that your eye is following the shape of the word. Ready, steady, go. If, 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 if. I for interaction, intelligence, interaction, imagination. Wow. Hearing, amazing, visual. I for, in my spice, it's I for intellectual. The other things are good as well. I'm not saying inspiration is wrong, but in mine, it's intellectual, because intellectual covers all the thinking skills. Everything we do in our language classes must be underpinned by thinking, and hopefully working at Bloom's taxonomy level 6, the top level in Bloom's taxonomy. So for me, it's intellectual, because that covers all the thinking skills, which leads me directly on to C. So the hots, exactly, very well done. The hots, not the lots. Great, great answers, thank you. Okay, we're going to do the C, and we're going to say, ready and go. We're using the VAC, we're using visual, we're using auditory, we're using kinesthetic, and everybody's saying creativity, but also collaboration, critical thinking. There's plenty of C's in our English language classrooms if we do it to make them tick. So creativity for me. And now we're going to do E. So get your hard work pointing finger ready, and we're going to say E, 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 E. E for, oh yes, emotions, emotional growth. Okay, E for energy and E for empathy. Wow, we're putting a lot of things into spice today. That's wonderful. For me, it means emotional development. How can our students possibly understand other people if they don't understand themselves? Where do my emotions come from? Why am I feeling like this today? Why do I get so angry when something doesn't work for me? So we have to work on their emotional development, and then afterwards, they can work on other people's emotional development. Let's face it, we're all in this business because we want to have a better world. We want to have a better world for our students. We want to have a better world in the classroom for our young learners. We want them to want to come to school. We want them to get up every morning and say, I'm going to school, I'm going to learn English. And we want them to say every day when the class finishes, oh, please, teacher, stay with me and teach me some more English. So this is what we're after. We're after the spice. I'm going to give you a test now. What does E stand for? Who can remember? Emotion, emotional growth, great, emotional development. S for social, brilliant, excellent. P for physical, great, great. You see how you learn when you use VAK. C for creativity. Wow, that was quick. And I for, this is the hardest, Intellectual growth. Wow, this is fantastic. I'm going to save the chat so that I can read it at leisure later. Fantastic. What a great group of people. Okay, so now you know 5 senses, multisensory education, coupled with the spice in every class that you do. Plan for it, plan it in, and make them tick. Look at these students. Are they ticking? Are they engaged? Are they loving what they're doing? Do they look happy? Are they joining in? Are they moving? Are they speaking? Get them to tick by what you do. It's all to do with you. Yes, they are. Lots of yeses. Great, fantastic. They are happy to get ticking. Exactly, that's marvelous. Now, what I want you to do, which is something that I've been doing for 50 years, I won't let you forget, doing research. Open a notebook, open your journal, and write in your journal every single day so that you are always observing, you are always watching, you are always looking. What makes your learners smile and laugh? What gets and keeps your learners' attention? What gets your learners excited? What are your learners' favorite things to do? What do your learners work hard at doing? Many of you said they were lazier now after the pandemic, but if we give them things that they enjoy doing and that they are interested in, they will work hard for us. I promise you. Do you believe me? I'm from Liverpool, so you better be careful. What brings out the best in your learners? What gets your learners to try new things that they know they can't do yet? And what do your learners choose to do most often? You know some of these already. Singing songs, dancing, they need to have determination, playing games, and all the other things that I'm going to show you now. I've got a few activities, as Sarah had, for you. There are 2 types of ways of looking at this. One is defining their personal interests one by one, and they can be many things, as you can see from the words there on the text. I'm not going to read it for you, you can read. And then also situational interests. And these situational interests emerge at the time when there's something about the activity that grabs them, when there's some material that you're using with them that really attracts their attention, or a person, you or a real person comes into the classroom, or somebody in the story, or somebody in the literature, or somebody in the comprehension exercise, maybe a hero, maybe a superhero, grabs their attention. So it's, as Sarah said, when the situation is new, interesting, unexpected, contrastive, that's when you grab their attention and you get them ticking. It depends on how much hands-on learning you do. Many of my teachers have told me that the students always want to go for these things, these dreadful things. No, I love my phone. So does everybody. But they can be distracting in the classroom. How do we stop them from going to their phones? By doing things with them so they don't even reach out. So we have to have interaction with real people, not interaction with the phone, interaction with me, interaction with other students in the classroom, interaction with the text. I always tell my teachers, keep the text, enhance the task. So make the task a little bit different, do something different. Lots and lots of advice in your Macmillan textbooks. Use realia, use real things that they can hold, they can feel, that they can show. Use images, sound, and video. Get them thinking, feeling, moving, responding, creating, and get hold of that involvement and that engagement. And as Sarah said, give them responsibility, give them little jobs in the classroom. And above all, give them choice. Use choice boards so that they can choose to do the things they like doing, and choose to do the things they like doing in the way they like doing them. So realia helps a lot. I agree, Irma. It really does, because it's part of their life. It's part of their real lives. Okay. I'm going to do a visualization with you now. I think we should use visualizations more often. So I'd like you to close your eyes and just imagine that this box of chocolates is sitting there on your desk, on your table in front of you. I take my box of chocolates into the classroom with me, or we make a box of chocolates with clay and we all contribute one chocolate to the box. So we're going to do VAK again, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. And I want you to stand up, if you will, breathe deeply, and I want you to join in with me doing the actions to this little poem, this little chant. A box full of chocolate. Hip, hip, hooray! A box full of chocolates. It's my prize today. Triangles, circles, rectangles, and squares. From the box into my tummy. Chocolates, yummy, yummy, yummy. You can revise lots and lots of language, and you can all enjoy that feeling of eating chocolate. I think almost everybody loves to receive a box of chocolates. So it's very positive. It's about taste. So we've got VAK and taste, and we may have smell if we can ask them to imagine the smell of the chocolates. And you know how when you eat, you can smell what you're eating as well. So we've got all the senses in this one. You're going to get the slides so you can have that little poem by the end of the week, or by the end of next week, maybe. Okay, doesn't want to go on. Would go on. Oh, I don't know what's happened now. Something strange has happened. I can't get out of this. My mouse has stuck. I have to tame the mouse. We usually talk about taming the lion. I have to tame my mouse. Okay, let's go on. There we are. I do a lovely exercise, which almost every age group enjoys it, actually. I'd like you to just put into the chat box some animal names for me. Could you put some animal names into the chat box for me? Let me see. Lion, tiger, goat, dingo, dog, owl, snake, sheep, hamster, squirrel, panda, jacaranda, no, elephant, guinea pig. Wow, we've got lots. So you can ask your students for lots of animal names. And then you can take in your realia. I really am a witch, so I happen to have a witch's. And as I am a witch, I've got my witch's wand. And I want you to join in with me. I touch my nose. I touch my ear. And abracadabra. Everybody is a lion here. Show me your lion. Let me hear the sound of your lion. And then you can go around taking photographs and put the photographs on your blog. What else could we do? We could do an elephant. We could do a tiger. We could do a hamster with big cheeks like I've got already. You could do actions as well. Everybody is eating a giant hamburger. Everybody is jumping up and down. Everybody is, what else could they be doing? What ideas can you think of? Ah, yes, you can't see my hat very well. Is that better if I go like that? It's because I've got my back screen on. Okay, they could run, they could dance, they could jump up and down, they could be sleeping, they could be, I know my hat is half missing. Maybe that means I'm only half a witch. You can think of any actions, any ideas you want and do this exercise. And then you give one of the students the responsibility. You give them you give them the hat, you give them the wand, and they go out to the front and they do the exercise themselves. They become the teacher. Always let your students become the teacher if you think they're up to it. It really helps a lot. Okay. And I had this idea many, many years ago when we were thinking of proverbs and also thinking of phrases, famous phrases that we use all the time, and we don't really know what they mean or where they came from. It's called The Walls Have Ears. And in this exercise, you ask the students what it means. Does anybody here know what it means? Can you put it in the chat box, please? What does it mean, the walls have ears? Yes, it means mind what you say. Be very, very careful because somebody is listening to you. Everybody can hear what you're saying. Big brother is around. So the walls have ears. Let your students listen to the walls in the classroom. So you have all your class silently leaning against the wall and listening to the story that is coming out of the wall. I let my students go into the corridors, even into my office. I was a teaching headmistress, and I let them go into the office and listen to the walls in my office to find out what's been going on in there when teachers have sent me naughty students, students who are too distracted, or students who are fighting, or students who are saying nasty things to other students. So the walls in my office had lots of stories to tell. So give them a couple of minutes to listen to the walls and then have them come back and tell the class the stories that they heard. They will shock you. Their imaginations are so strong at that age that they will think of all sorts of things. And of course, you're using all the language that you have taught them. So you are really developing them. If you don't have enough walls in your classroom, or if you've got an extremely big class, you can just ask them to put their ear down on the desk. I've disappeared, haven't I? Here I am. And listen to the desks. Listen to the stories of the desk. And then as a writing task, you can ask them to write those stories. It's a fabulous exercise. My students have loved it in the past. So now we're going to move on to our last activity for this moment of activities. And we're going to do an exercise called My Daddy is a Baker. So I want you all to stand up. Are you going to join in with me? Say yes in the chat box if you are. Stand up, get your bowl and your big wooden spoon, and you're going to stir the batter. We're going to make pancakes. So Join in after I've sung the first line, please. I'll repeat it. Ready, go. My daddy is a baker. Join in. My daddy is a baker. My mummy is a dentist. Ah, 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 ah. My mummy is a dentist. Ah, 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 ah. My sister is a show-off. My sister is a show-off. Honky ponky, honky ponky. My brother is a cowboy. Turn around, touch the ground, and bang. Now, there was one school I was in that said we can't have any banging going on around here. So I did turn around, touch the ground, and look. Just to change it a little bit so everybody was happy. So from the top, ready? My daddy is a baker. Yummy, 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 yummy. My mummy is a dentist. Ah, 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 ah. My sister is a show-off. Honky ponky, honky ponky. My brother is a cowboy. Turn around, touch the ground, and okay, so that's the end of the activities for today, but I do have a few reminders for you. If you want your students to tick, you need to remember that there are personal interests and there are situational interests. And I would like to know what new activity you can include after attending this webinar. What are you going to do when you go back to school? Just put it in the chat box. What are you going to take away with you? What are you going to include in your classes that you didn't have before? Tell me concretely. Almost everything. Wow, great. Physical activities, the spice. Great. Situational interests. Wow. Mysterious things. Contrast, magic spells. All right, very nice. Great. Thank you. So I want you to revise. Remember, never ever forget that every day you talk to your students that they are kinesthetic, they are curious, they are playful, they're searching for love, they're searching for knowledge, they are endearing, they are growing, they are learning, they are discovering. And do all of these things with them. Don't just do the same old thing all the time. So keep your text, enhance the tasks, and remember to include all of the things from multisensory education and the spice. So I'd like to say thank you in many, many languages to all the people who are here today. It's been absolutely fantastic. Even though I couldn't see if you were really joining in with me, I would have liked to see you. But if you can take away one or two ideas, that will change life in the classroom for thousands of students around the world. What a change we can make. Let's make a better world by offering our students a better English language class every day, every time. Thank you so much for all your comments in the chat box. You've been really participatory, and I'm going to save it again so that I can read it afterwards. Lovely. Thank you very much, Macmillan. Thank you very much, all of you. And special thanks to Will Rickson, who invited me in the first place. Thank you. Over to you, Marlene.
Well, hello again. Thank you, Susan. It's been very inspirational, and well, everybody's thanking you. We have just some questions if you'd like to answer them. Yes, a few questions. One is from Tatia. She says that as the attitude of motivation varies according to students' age, could you please share what practical and useful strategies to use for teenagers?
Yes.
Some ideas, maybe.
I knew that question would come up, but I wasn't asked to do anything on teenagers today. But many of the I think strategies are the way. I think strategies are the answer to most of our problems. You had a question about ADHD. Strategies for ADHD students really help them, no matter what their age is. And in terms of teenagers, I've always found that we have to motivate them in different ways, but equally finding strategies which go with their interests. So I have about, I would say about 200 strategies in my head. And I teach my teachers how to use those strategies with whatever age it is they're teaching. So we do some things for teenagers, some things for primary, some things for kindergarten, some things for adults, because I've taught in all those ranges. And I think you just need to look it up, go on a course, find a conference, and you will find loads and loads of ways to motivate anybody.
Yes, I completely agree.
I can't actually do any now because we haven't got any.
Yes, of course, we understand. Okay, and there is another question by Mikhail. He says, what do you think, how many students attend lessons in one class? I think that it has to do with the number of the students. I wonder if we have got only 1 or 2 students in a class, how will be teaching methods implemented, I think, yes? And if you can share your experiences or ideas.
It's a very,
maybe for smaller classes.
Yeah, I personally, and I'm admitting this with you, is that I personally have found smaller classes more difficult because you don't get the dynamics going that you do in a larger class. I actually prefer 18 to 30 in a class. That I think is really manageable. Bigger than that is much harder, and I have taught classes bigger than that, but you can do it if your classroom management is good. And then with private students, you have to become their peer in a way. You have to become another student, join in with them on everything you do. So imagine you're doing pair work with them and you are their peer.
Yes.
And so you do the interaction like that. At the moment, I'm teaching a lot of private, well, teachers actually, I teach methodology. And I do that with them. I become the other person to interact with in the class. So I still use strategies.
All right, and one question by Gisela. She says, how can we be more effective using the task-based approach in order to make our students stick in our classes? Sometimes we tend to stick to traditional ways of teaching that we forget to use other strategies.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And it's one that I have always addressed ever since I started teaching. I think that task-based learning is the way to go, unless you're into CLIL, because CLIL actually includes tasks in it. It's part of the CLIL methodology. And I've recently started, well, 7 years, I've been teaching EMI in China, Chinese professors, and they don't really understand what a task is. They find it very, very difficult to understand the difference between a task and an exercise. So I think you've got to define that for yourself, first of all. Task-based learning has to have a real world task at the end of it to engage the students. And I have found that it's completely different from doing fill in the blanks. It's completely different from doing true or false. Although I have strategies for doing true or false with the body. So once you get into using strategies, you can never go back to the old way of teaching.
The old way.
Because you see You see the dynamics, you see the
Yes,
students.
that there is a purpose. It's
There's a
the
purpose,
objective.
there's a reason, and you can join. These days you can join with us, other students from around the world. You can do a Zoom class, you can join with another teacher, and they can talk about their culture. They can show the things that they bought when they were on their holidays and say why I bought this, why this attracted my attention. So there are a million things you can do.
Exactly. All right, we have a course for that, Gateway to the World for teenagers, if you're interested. Yes, that deals with this question of the virtual classroom exchange, which is great. Well, okay, thank you, Susan. Thank you again. Thanks a lot. It was a wonderful, marvelous webinar. I'm going to share my screen again. Just wait a second that okay. I'll
say bye-bye. Bye-bye,
okay,
everybody.
Thanks a lot, Susan. Bye-bye. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. All right, just a reminder, remember, a certificate of attendance will be sent within a week after the session, together with the virtual goodie bag with exclusive context from Share It. So be attentive to that. And what's coming up tomorrow? Welcome World, our last session, day 10 of this Global Teachers Festival. And we will present a talk by Dr. Amina Duodi, Promoting Interculturality in ELT Through Cultural Diversity. And also a talk by Harry Waters, Changing the World One Step at a Time. So please register if you haven't. We hope you join us again for our last day. Remember, again, another reminder that Sarah will be delivering another webinar on Friday the 10th, Mirrors and Windows, Raising Intercultural Awareness in the Primary Classroom. Remember, you can scan the code and have all the information, or if not, follow us on social media or visit our website. And hope you enjoyed these 2 sessions. See you tomorrow, and thank you a lot for being here. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.